One of the biggest problems students face when they decide to take the Cambridge exams is knowing just where to start, especially with the use of English paper. So in order to help you organize your studies and your preparation, in this video I'm going to tell you all the grammar that you need to study in order to get the best score possible. Okay, let's do this. Now this is my fourth video in the series on how to pass the Cambridge exams. And we're looking at the B2 first, the C1 Advanced and the C2 Proficiency specifically. But I'd recommend you check out my previous videos and also subscribe so you don't miss future videos which are coming soon. So, what grammar do you need to study to pass the exams? Well, all of it, basically. Okay, thank you for joining me and I'll see you again for another video. Okay, I'm joking. Well, I'm half joking because it's true. You really do need basically all the grammar. You need to know all the grammar. But hopefully you've been studying English for a long time now, so you will be prepared. You know, most of the basic grammar you will know, the basic verb tenses. So in this video we're going to be looking at specific grammar that you need for each part of the exam, of the use of English in particular. Now I'm not going to teach you the grammar in this video, that would be a very long video. But I'm just going to give you the grammar that you need to study yourself. So as I said, we're covering the B2 first, C1 Advanced and C2 Proficiency. So there are different levels there, but really it's the same grammar concepts that you need to study. So in the first, for example, you have to study the conditionals, but maybe the more basic conditionals. The second, maybe the third conditionals. But with the proficiency, it will be difficult mixed conditionals, alternatives to if, etc. It'd just be a different level of grammar, but the same basic grammar concepts. Okay, let's start by looking at part one. Now, part one of the exam is the multiple choice questions. Really, this is focusing on vocabulary more than grammar. But having said that, you will need to study some grammar to be prepared for this part. For example, collocations. To identify the correct word in the multiple choice of four, often the correct answer will be a collocation with another word in the text. A couple of examples you can see here is like raise awareness. So maybe the word you're looking for is raise, or maybe it's awareness. Under illusion, so under no illusion is often the expression. Or sometimes just adjectives with prepositions, so afraid of, interested in, etc. There are many of those. Also in part one, phrasal verbs. Again, I can't teach you all the phrasal verbs in this video. Go off and revise those and learn as many as possible. And also linking words. So some examples, as you can see there, in spite of, so spite may be the missing word. Contrary, so contrary to popular opinion, for example. However, unless. So these are the types of grammar areas that you need to study to be prepared for part one of the exam. Let's look at part two now. Part two is a gap fill exercise. So you'll see a text with 8 gaps which you need to complete. And the good news about this part is that you know all the words. They're easy words that you know. The bad news is it's very difficult to find those words sometimes from thin air, from nothing. So the type of grammar you need to study for this part is prepositions, for example. So again, collocations and phrasal verbs, so which prepositions go with which adjectives and which verbs. Articles are very important, so the, a, an. Conjunctions and linking words, for example, but, and, because, although, even though, etc. So these are all words you should know. Pronouns, some simple pronouns, he, she, they, we. Some more complicated pronouns perhaps, but these will be pronouns you know. Also modal verbs and auxiliary verbs, including the verb to be as an auxiliary. It's very common to see the verb to be as an auxiliary in this part of the exam. So it could be in part of a continuous form or passive form. You may see have or has in the present perfect. All grammar you know, but you need to refresh. Okay, let's go on to part 3 now. So part 3 is word transformation. So you have 8 words along the side of text, and you need to change those words into different words but using the same root. So it's basically transforming the same word. So you need to study suffixes and prefixes to be able to transform verbs into nouns, for example, or nouns into adjectives, adjectives into adverbs, verbs into adjectives, and positives into negatives. So how to form the negative, what prefix do you need to form a negative? So again, this should be grammar that you know, but it will be useful revising it just to freshen it up for you before the exam. Okay, let's go on to the difficult part 4 now. So part 4 is where you're really going to need all your old grammar that you've studied in the past. So dig out your old notes and exercise books because they're going to be very useful now. You have to also realize that in this part there will be some idiomatic expressions and fixed expressions and phrasal verbs and things like that which you can't really study for. You need to just be prepared for those in general by exposing yourself to as much English as possible. You can't learn everything just by studying a few weeks or months before the exam. Having said that, let's look at the grammar you need for part 4. A big one is the conditionals. There will usually be at least one question where you need to use conditionals. Another very common area of grammar in this part is the reported speech. Passives. Sentence may be written in active and you need to change it to the passive, or vice versa, maybe written in passive, you need to change it into the active. Inversion, especially for the advanced and proficiency, and phrasal verbs. There will always be at least one question containing phrasal verbs. Remember, in this part of the exam you get 2 points, so write something always, even if you don't know what the phrasal verb is. You may get 1 point for using the correct structure in the sentence, so don't worry, don't panic if you don't know which phrasal verb they're asking for. Just write something because you may get 1 point. Okay, I hope you found this video useful. As always, if you have any questions or any tips for other students, please put them in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, bye.